It's August 2021, and I've just made the switch to the original iPhone SE released in 2016. Here's how it's been so far. The original iPhone SE was released in March 2016, between the release of the iPhone 6s and the iPhone 7. I actually owned this phone for a while back then, but I ultimately sold it because the battery life was too weak for my phone-addicted self back in the day. So what do you get today with the iPhone SE? It has that familiar iPhone 5s form factor which many of us have come to love, miss, and eventually rediscover with the iPhone 12 line. It uses the same internals as the iPhone 6s did back in the day. The biggest feature, or limitation depending on your point of view, is the 4-inch screen. This entire phone is as big as my iPhone 8 Plus's screen. This means some apps feel a bit cramped nowadays. Surprisingly, this phone can still handle some games like NBA 2K decently. Though if you are a serious gamer, I'm sure this phone won't really be in your top consideration list anyway. The screen resolution is starting to look dated compared to the screens of today. It's funny how everyone back then thought that the human eyes couldn't see more pixels per square inch than Retina, but definitely you can see a difference. Although for me, YouTube videos and Netflix, they're still perfectly watchable and lag-free. Another side effect of this small size is the keyboard. On my first day using this, I could barely type, but now I'm a lot more used to it. Still slower than typing on an iPhone 8 Plus though. But most amazingly, it's still being updated to iOS 15, which many didn't expect. That means over 6 years of software support. And unlike older phones which struggled whenever Apple gave them software updates, I'm looking at you, iPhone 4S, this phone still runs very smoothly for everyday use. The camera is pretty good as long as you have decent lighting. The selfie camera is only 1.2 megapixels, but hey, it gets the job done. The video isn't bad either. Here are some video samples. Also, my first ever YouTube video was actually shot on this phone. The speakers are loud enough for what I need. And oh yeah, it has a headphone jack, so no more lightning adapters whenever I need to plug in my headphones. I got the 32GB variant for 100 Australian dollars, or around 70 USD on Facebook Marketplace. And the best part is that this phone came with 99% battery health, although I'm not sure if this was replaced later on or if this is actually an almost new product. But either way, I got lucky here for sure. If you want something with warranty, there are lots of these going on phone refurb sites, but they're still a bit pricey here in Australia. The Achilles heel of this phone though has always been the battery life. The smaller iPhones back in the day weren't really ever known for great battery life, and this one's 1600 mAh battery, even at full battery health, only gets me 2 hours of screen time a day. For some reason, it can also just discharge and turn off if you're anywhere between 10 and 20% instead of the gradual trickle down of the more recent iPhones. So that's also a bit unpredictable and inconvenient. And if you're a heavy phone user, you would definitely need a power bank or charger near you at all times. There's no fast charging either, one of the weird things that Apple was several generations behind on. But since we're in lockdown here in Sydney anyway, it hasn't been a big deal for me. Now, given all that, who is this phone for? I think it can fit a few profiles. Profile number 1. You want the cheapest iPhone that you can still use with the Apple ecosystem today. As a previous longtime Android user who needed to change phones every 1 to 2 years because of software slowdowns, I'm a real convert here. I'm using this with a 2013 MacBook Pro and a 5th gen iPad, and I'm still getting a great overall user experience across this ecosystem. If you want to hear more about my broke Apple ecosystem, let me know down in the comments and I can make a follow-up video on this. This phone could also be for you if you like small phones that you can use with one hand. This is the smallest officially updated mainstream phone out there, and it's got an unbeatable price to performance ratio if you can get something in good condition. The only real competitor in the sub 4-inch phone market that can perform reasonably well would be maybe the Unihertz Jelly 2. The good thing about that phone is that it has a 2000 mAh battery, but it also is double the price. Lastly, this phone could be for you if you're looking for a solid device that still retains smartphone features, but can encourage more of a digital minimalist mindset due to its size. The screen is small enough that you get half of the visual stimulation that you would get with the larger screens of today. By the way, if you're interested in this launcher, I have a video on that, just click on the upper right. Now, I don't think this is for you if you fancy yourself a power user, whether that be for gaming or for content consumption. While it runs quite well and quite smoothly, the screen size and the really bad battery life will definitely catch up to you. The screen quality is okay, but there's definitely better ones out there today if that is your priority. Personally, I am going to be using this as my daily phone as someone who wants to stay under 1.5 hours screen on time per day. I want to use it just for listening to music, occasional messaging/email, and maybe replying to comments on YouTube. But I know that because this is not too comfortable to use for extended periods of time, I won't be as drawn to this versus a larger smartphone. The only worry I really have is when we're back to normal, how much of a barrier the battery life is going to be. Will I get stuck without a charger in the middle of nowhere, or is it just going to be something I need to be prepped for by always bringing a power bank wherever I go? But hey, what other phone can you get that can deliver this much performance at this price without the need for any custom modding? See you next time. Bye.